guys, it's Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge. Yeah, I'm wearing the same shirt as I did yesterday. That's because I'm recording the intros on the same day. The rest of the review is going to be recorded separately, but you know, since I'm sitting here looking all pretty and I've got it set up with the background. Today I'm talking about Lansky. And I've got two items that Lansky sent to me to review, and I've been using these guys for over a month now and been quite enjoying one of them an awful lot. And the other one's got some good features as well. You got the new for 2017, I think it's for 2017 or it came out late 2016, the Quadsharp. You've seen that I've done a review of the, it's a little bit older brother. It doesn't have as many of these carbide sharpening angle thingies. The BladeSharp, I think it's called. I'll have to double check that. But I've done a review of that thing. I carry that thing with me pretty much all over the place. And we'll see how this thing stacks up and if it's better or worse or just different. Let's begin by talking about the Quadsharp. Put that to the side there. Here's the BladeMedic that I did my other reviews on, almost a year ago. You can see it's a smaller tool. It's a different tool. You can see the video for this one. This doesn't really replace this because they had different features. They got some of the same features, but some different features. So there you go. I still like this guy. This guy's got some good features. The one feature that they share that's the same, or a couple of features, is this piece of ceramic is the exact same size on both of them. And you can use that to help tune up an edge, to sharpen up a serration or whatever. And then you've got on the BladeMedic, you've got two sharpening things. You've got one carbide, and then you've got two ceramic rollers. This one's only got 4 carbide, so it's really a different tool. So it's not like they're just trying to get you to buy the newest thing. It is a different tool, although it has some of the same features. Let's zoom this in just a little bit. So what we've got is quad, meaning 4. We've got 4 different sharpnesses of these pieces of carbide, and they're shaped in a V, and they're designed for you to take a knife and you put it in and you slide it through and it sharpens up your edge. Is that a good thing? Well, yes, it can be a very good thing. It can be something that's maybe not so wise at the same time as well. So I want to talk a little bit about when you would use this and when you would not use this. You would use this tool, this quad part section here, when you've got a knife that is in extremely bad condition. Or this is the only tool you've got and you need to sharpen your knife. And you've got nothing else that you can use to sharpen it. Those are the two instances where you'd use this. For instance, if you've got a little bit of some chip out, you've got pieces chipped out of the edge of your blade, you've got major problems with your blade, you'd pick the right edge and you would use it to, slide your knife through it and sharpen it up. I'm going very light here, almost no pressure at all, to demonstrate, but you'd have to give it a fair bit of pressure, and you want to keep your blade, so here's your sharpener. Now I've got it straight up and down. You want to take your blade and have it perfectly horizontal, and you want to put some pressure straight down and slide it across, keeping your steel perpendicular to your tool in every dimension, perpendicular from level, horizontal, and as well as from side to side. It's really important not to have your knife twisted a little bit to one side when you're pulling it through. That'll cause you to have an uneven grind. And then you just do that. You keep pulling it through and start off with light pressure and slowly add more pressure until you get used to how this works. Don't start off with, just reefing on it and just putting a lot of pressure and pulling. You're asking for trouble in a couple ways. You can slip and then end up cutting yourself, or you can end up just wasting steel and taking off way more steel than you need to. And you just keep sliding it through until you've got a true edge. And then once you've got a true edge, that's when you go to this piece of ceramic and then you take your ceramic and you clean up that edge and make it sharp enough that you can, you know, cut whatever you need to cut with it. Just sliding it, you start at the piece of you start at the piece of ceramic closest to you and the base of the blade, and as you're sliding down, you're also sliding out. And so you just slide it across very lightly. That's all you need. You can, if you've got a marker, put some black marker just along that edge grind so that you can slide it across here, and then you can double check and see where on the blade you're taking off steel, and then adjust your angle accordingly so that you're going to be taking a little bit of steel off right at the very tip of the edge. And once you've done that, as far as you want it to be sharp, you're done. The big thing about this that I want to make sure that you hear from me is that it's not for regular maintenance. If you don't have damage on your steel, this is just my opinion. Lansky might say something else. Other professionals might say something else. I'm only talking about my own experience. I'm not a professional knife sharpener. I'm just a knife hobbyist who loves knives, who has some experience. And in my experience, this kind of edge is a little more aggressive than what I like. If you've got experience with them and you're just looking for a tool that has all these options, you know, you're your own professional. You learn your own life lessons and you live the way you want to live. What I really like about this, though, is the 4 different sizes. The 30, you can use that on an axe, sharpen up your axe edge. If you've got a fine small hatchet, you might want to go to the 25. That's the finest angle you're ever going to want to go with on a hatchet type tool. Most knives, like your hunting knives, your working knives, are at 25. Your finer knives, like your a paring knife, a fish filleting knife, are either 20 or down to the 17. And so that's what those numbers are. The finer of an edge you want, the smaller the number is that you're going to go for. It's a tighter angle. So, you know, so the blade, imagine the blade's in this space between my fingers. The more narrow the space is, of course, the thinner that steel is at the edge, which means it's also weaker right there, which means it can get damaged and stuff easier. So the wider the angle is, the stronger the steel is right at that edge. But it's also that much more blunt and that much more difficult to go through stuff. So you got to find the angle that works best for what you're doing, and you pick the one you want. As a tool itself, how is it built? It's built well. This is aluminum, and they've put a good coating on it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a, what's the word for it? Powder coat. I'm not sure if that's what it is or not. I wouldn't be surprised if it is on this aluminum. The ceramics in there nice and tight. You can move it if you try really hard, but it's not loose by any stretch of the imagination. It's nice and firm in there. All of these carbide cutters are in there nice and firm. If you need to tighten this up, if it gets loose for some reason, these are all hex here, so you just take your Allen key or your hex key, whatever you call them where you live, and you just snug it up a little bit. It's got a nice end here for you to put a loop on it, a lanyard or whatever, hook it to whatever system you want so it can hang and dangle wherever you want. If you just want to drop it in your pocket, if you've got cargo pants or whatever, it'll live there fine, no problem. It's a good device. How much does this thing cost you? How much is it going to set you back? Well, if you're in the US, this thing's going to set you back $13.90. If you're in Canada, $25. After you do the exchange rate, it's not quite twice as much, but it's essentially close to twice as much. Welcome to Canada. Here's another reason why all those Americans who said they're going to move to Canada, they didn't move here because it's way too expensive. It just costs a whole lot more to get these things here. Really good stuff by Lansky. The other Lansky that I haven't shown you is my basic sharpening kit. It's not expensive. I know one Canadian custom knife maker. He makes custom knives, sells them for hundreds of dollars, and all that he uses to sharpen his knives is Lansky. Things that a lot of consumers say, oh, that's beneath me. I need this $400 system. No, you don't. You don't need to spend a lot of money to sharpen your knives. What you need to do is practice with what you've got. Get something that's reasonable, something that's effective, and practice. So start off with some cheap knives. This here's an Enland. Use some cheap, low-cost knives and practice, practice, practice until you're good at it. And then do your more expensive knives. So there you go. Lansky. A good way to keep your knives in good condition. Portable solutions as well as home solutions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. Really like the comments. That's my favorite. And remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.